On Thanksgiving, my sister pushed my 12-year-old daughter into a mud puddle and said, "Now you're just like your mother, a filthy pig." The whole family laughed, but my husband's revenge silenced them all and left them begging for mercy. Hello, Reddit. Thanksgiving has always been tricky for my family, but last year turned it into something else entirely. My name is Georgina Rodriguez, and I never thought I'd dread the holidays like I do now. I used to be the person who spent weeks planning the menu, decorating with little pumpkins and cinnamon-scented candles, and coordinating outfits for those perfectly curated family photos. But this time, Thanksgiving ended with my daughter in tears, my sister exposed, and my husband doing something no one expected but everyone deserved. For context, my family is judgmental, to put it mildly. They thrive on hierarchy, perfection, and appearances. My older sister, Vanessa, has always been the golden child. Law degree, fancy car, picture-perfect marriage on social media, the whole package. I, on the other hand, took a humbler path. I teach high school English, married a mechanic named James who has grease under his nails but the kindest heart I've ever known, and we have a daughter, Lily, 12, who's sensitive, sweet, and unfortunately an easy target for people like my sister. Thanksgiving was at my parents' house as always. I'd offered to host this year since we just finished renovating our small dining room, but Vanessa shot the idea down immediately in our family group chat. "We need space, Georgina. Not everyone's okay squeezing around a garage sale table in a shoebox kitchen." The rest of the family chuckled. My mom sent a laughing emoji. Typical. James told me to ignore them, that they'd never understand the value of a home built on love instead of luxury, but it still stung. When we arrived, things already fell off. Vanessa barely acknowledged Lily and didn't say a word to James. She kissed our parents on the cheek and swept into the kitchen like she was on a talk show, her voice echoing through the house, demanding attention and fake laughter. I felt it, that old feeling of being 13 again, invisible and inferior. But we did what we always do, smiled, helped set the table, tried to blend in. Lily was wearing this little velvet dress I'd bought her, burgundy with lace cuffs. She'd even curled her hair. She looked adorable and felt beautiful. James told her she looked like a princess, and she beamed. Dinner went fine. Turkey, mashed potatoes, awkward small talk, side-eye from Vanessa whenever James shared a story. She made subtle, sharp comments like, "So, Georgina, still driving that beat-up truck? Or have you finally upgraded from 2009? Or Lily, is that dress vintage? How sweet!" I clenched my jaw. James squeezed my hand under the table. We were used to it. After dessert, the kids went to play in the backyard, which was still muddy from the previous night's rain. Lily followed her cousins, trying to fit in. That's when it happened that I didn't see the moment it started. I wish I had. What I did see was Lily standing at the edge of the patio, nervously smiling, holding a soccer ball. Vanessa stormed in, her heels sinking into the wet grass, yelling something about the kids kicking too close to her dog Rory. Lily looked scared, mumbling an apology. Then Vanessa stepped forward and pushed my daughter, right into a mud puddle. Lily fell hard, hands and knees splashing in the muddy water, her velvet dress soaked, her face crumpling with humiliation. And then came the line Vanessa spat, loud enough for everyone to hear. "Now you're just like your mother, dirty and pathetic, a pig wallowing in the mud." The backyard went silent for a second, then erupted in laughter, real, cruel laughter. My uncle, my cousins, even my mother chuckled behind her wine glass. No one helped Lily. No one called Vanessa out. James stood so fast his chair tipped over. His fists were clenched, jaw tight, and for a moment I thought he might charge across the yard. But he didn't. Instead, he walked past me calmly, almost too calmly, and went inside the house. Vanessa was still laughing, strutting back to the patio, sipping her wine like nothing happened. Lily stood there shivering, lip trembling, mud on her legs, tears on her cheeks. I ran to her, hugged her, whispered that it was okay, that nothing Vanessa said mattered, but my heart was breaking. Then the screen door slammed. James stepped out. He wasn't holding anything. He didn't shout. He didn't threaten. He just walked straight to Vanessa and said, in a calm, icy voice, "You've humiliated my daughter for the last time. Enjoy your car. It'll be your last memory of pride." Vanessa laughed. "What, you gonna key it?" Real classy. James didn't answer. He turned and walked out the front door. For a second, I thought he just needed air. But 5 minutes later, Vanessa's Audi alarm started blaring. People ran to the front of the house, shouting and gasping. James had backed our old truck down the driveway and rammed it into Vanessa's car. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. Slow, deliberate. No one could stop him. He smashed the front end, broke the bumper, crumpled the hood, and shattered a headlight. The family was screaming. My mother was yelling. Vanessa shrieked like a banshee, threatening lawsuits, saying she'd call the police. James stepped out of the truck, walked up to her, and said in front of everyone, "Call them. And tell them what you did to my daughter, the bruises on her knees, the tears you laughed at, the puddle you pushed her into. Let them record your insults, your cruelty. I'd love to see how that plays out in court." Then he tossed the keys onto the lawn, took Lily, who was sobbing in my arms, and said, "We're done here. You're all poison." We left, just like that. We drove home in silence, Lily curled up in the back seat, still trembling. James held my hand and didn't let go all night. But that wasn't the end. The next day, Vanessa posted a fake version of the story on Facebook, blaming James for a violent outburst and playing the victim. The comments were full of sympathy. I was furious. So I posted the truth, with photos of Lily's muddy dress, her scraped knees, Vanessa standing smugly with her wine glass while Lily cried, and the video. Because one of the cousins had recorded it all, probably planning to post it later for laughs, but the video got to me. James uploaded it with the caption, "This is what happens when cruelty meets consequences." It went viral within hours. Thousands saw what Vanessa did. Her workplace found out. Clients canceled contracts. Sponsors cut ties. Her perfect image shattered. But what hurt most? Our daughter, Lily, saw the comments, strangers from around the world telling her she was beautiful, strong, and hadn't done anything wrong. For the first time, she smiled about what happened. And James's act of revenge wasn't just anger, it was love, protecting our daughter when no one else would. But it still wasn't over, because what happened next turned the rest of the family upside down. Within 48 hours of James posting the video, everything changed. Vanessa's law firm issued a public statement distancing itself from her behavior. Clients dropped her in droves. She tried to downplay it, claiming it was a family joke taken out of context, but the footage didn't lie. It was raw, clearly showing her pushing Lily into the puddle, smirking, sipping wine, reveling in the cruelty. No one could mistake it for anything but bullying, public and personal. My mother tried calling me, leaving tearful voicemails about how I'd ruined the family by airing private matters. But not once did she say she was sorry. Not once did she ask if Lily was okay. That silence told me everything. James stayed quiet publicly after the post. He didn't gloat. He didn't need to. People rallied around him. Local news wanted to cover the story. Child therapists, advocates, even teachers praised him online for standing up for his daughter when no one else in that backyard did. And Lily, she was still processing it. The outpouring of love from strangers gave her some strength, but she also saw our family for who they were. The spark in her eyes when we mentioned Grandma or cousins was gone. Then came the real kicker, the will. My father passed away 3 years ago, leaving everything to my mother. She'd always promised the house would be split evenly between Vanessa and me, and the family lake cabin would go to the grandkids someday. We never pressed. It wasn't about the money, and my parents weren't rich. But when I received an anonymous envelope in the mail 2 weeks after Thanksgiving, my world tilted. Inside were copies of revised estate documents, dated 3 months before Thanksgiving. Everything, house, cabin, assets, had been quietly transferred to Vanessa with the agreement she'd care for Mom in her old age. In the margins, in my mother's handwriting, was a note next to the paragraph excluding me. Georgina made her bed. She married beneath her and chose that life. Vanessa earned it. I stared at it so long I thought my eyes would burn. It wasn't about the money. It was the rejection, the disgust that had always simmered beneath my mother's tone. Vanessa's smug smiles, the family snide jokes. James took the envelope, read every page, then looked at me and said, "They think they won. They have no idea what's coming. We could have sued. We could have fought for the inheritance." But James had a different idea, one that hit deeper, harder, and with a finality they never saw coming that we invited a few relatives, the ones who didn't laugh, who'd apologize privately, to Lily's school the next week for an event. She'd been chosen to read her essay aloud at the district's Voices of the Future night. Her teacher told us it was powerful, but didn't reveal the topic. That night, in a packed auditorium, Lily took the stage in a simple dress. No curls, no makeup, just her voice. She began, "They laughed when I fell. They laughed when I cried. But my dad didn't. My dad stood up. He showed me silence lets the bully win, and because he stood up, the world heard." She told the whole story from her perspective, the feeling of being pushed, mocked, betrayed by adults, the confusion, the pain, the realization that adults can be worse than kids. She ended with, "I'm not broken. I'm learning. And now I know who really loves me, not the ones who smile for cameras, but the ones who fight when it matters. Thank you, Dad. You're my hero." The entire auditorium gave her a standing ovation. 2 days later, Lily was offered a full scholarship to a private school known for nurturing talented writers and empathetic leaders. Safe, supportive, fully funded. We accepted. That was the final blow. When Vanessa heard Lily wasn't just viral but was getting offers and praise for her courage, she lost it. She tried contacting the school board, claiming we were exploiting our daughter for attention, but it didn't work. No one listened to her anymore. She'd become what she feared most, irrelevant. My mother uninvited us from Christmas, sending a group text saying we caused too much drama. We didn't respond. Instead, James and I used the holidays to take Lily to a lake, not the family cabin, but one we'd been quietly renting for months, planning to buy with help from friends and some unexpected media attention. We closed on a small, peaceful lakeside house just outside the city. It was ours. No more begging for a seat at a table that never welcomed us. We lit a bonfire, made s'mores, and told stories in the quiet. For the first time in years, we felt free. Vanessa still posts online. Her perfect life is a little less polished now, a little more desperate. She lost clients. Her law firm gave her a sabbatical that quietly turned into a termination. My mother lives with her now, though from what I hear, it's not the paradise she imagined. As for us, James is opening his own auto repair shop next spring. Lily is thriving. And me? I stopped chasing love from people who only measured worth in status and control. Thanksgiving used to be about family gatherings. Now for me, it's the day everything changed. The day my husband stood up and refused to let silence win, the day my daughter learned her tears mattered, the day I stopped being ashamed of where I came from and started building where we're going. They called me dirty. Now they're the ones buried in the filth of their own cruelty. And us, we're rising above it,